I thought about starting this off with some sort of introduction, but honestly, you don't care. Many thanks if you were pretending to care anyway, but we both know you don't. Your first question is not who is this guy, but rather what sets this guy apart from every other fucking game culture video rant guy on the web, and rightly so we'll cut to the chase. So, like a lot of gamers, I'm currently in the midst of having my world rocked by Suda51's No More Heroes, the first fully awesome third-party title for the Nintendo Wii, and as far as I'm concerned, both an early contender for the top games of a waitlist, and a welcome fellow to Portal and Bioshock in the pantheon of wonderful new blood ideas for this console generation. And yes, you heard me, you half-cocked message board fuckheads. The Wii is part of this console generation, even though it's not giving you a base tan with bloom lighting and forcing you to go plasma in order to derive the proper enjoyment from otherwise rote rental-worthy rehashes, alright? It's out at the same time as the 360 and PS3, it's competing in the same fucking marketplace, cut, print, end of story. Yes, Sony and Microsoft's respective HD-ready next-gen behemoths are getting ass-raped all over the sales charts by an underpowered retro oddity that isn't at all ashamed to admit it's a toy at the end of the day. This guy is still the gold standard, this guy is still God, this will be the greatest thing to happen to gaming since the invention of jiggle physics, so can we please stop it with this tired shit about GameCubes and duct tape and get the fuck over it. Hey, yeah, anyway, No More Heroes. It was right about the time that I found myself using my ghetto lightsaber to fight my way through the army of evil baseball henchmen, only to find myself in the middle of a ballpark ready to do battle against a ballad-crooning cowboy detective named Dr. Peace, that two profound things happened. First, I fell over the heels in love with this fucking insanity-dripping masterpiece, and second, I was struck by the sad realization that this kind of brilliant fucked-upness used to be the rule in games as opposed to the exception, which brings me to my thesis for today. What the fuck happened? Like, check out Castlevania. NES, early 80s. It's a Dracula story, and there's Dracula. Okay, pretty standard so far. But hold on. In this version, he's an all-powerful supervillain of nearly godlike powers. The fucking Grim Reaper, death itself, takes its orders from him. His castle is a Dark Ages Death Star, apparently the size of a small country unto itself, and along with a standing army of mummies, zombies, gillmen, Frankenstein's monster, and whatever else the Universal Horrors had to offer, he's apparently conscripted half the Olympian bestiary to the cause as well. And who's gonna fight 'em all? Van Helsing? General Spielsdorf? No. Simon Belmont, a Frazetta-style beefcake barbarian with a loincloth and a magic whip. A whip. He's gonna fight vampires with a motherfucking whip. How nuts is this? Hunter Thompson didn't see shit like this. Once upon a time, even games set at least halfway in a realish world went nutsoid as a general rule. In Final Fight, a street gang elects to prove their badassery by kidnapping the mayor's daughter. Fortunately for her, His Honor Mayor Dad is a gigantic-ass former pro wrestler who, rather than calling in the police on this one, elects to strip down to his slacks and beat the shit out of the punks himself. I know I'm not the only guy who misses this kind of go-for-broke creative free-for-all in this medium. Here's a fresh-from-the-oven example of what I'm getting at. A few months back, Capcom gave old-school gamers like myself the world over a Seismorian-level affliction of acute priapism by announcing that they'd be revisiting the world of Bionic Commando, a one-off NES-era classic rightly remembered as the motherfucking masterpiece and one of the best things they ever made. High praise considering this was Capcom at the apex of its Mega Man-era grandeur and only a few years away from its Street Fighter-era grandeur. The game featured super spy badass Rad Spencer fighting through elaborate, colorful levels, battling the armies of a revived Adolf Hitler, no, really, fucking Hitler, chiefly through the use of his awesome telescoping bionic arm, hence the title. It was G.I. Joe meets James Bond meets Spider-Man meets Mega Man. Pure, concentrated awesome. So you can imagine how excited we were to return to form. And then we saw it. Yeah, fine, swinging around on the arm looks fun, we've known that since Spider-Man 2. But where are we doing it? Wow, washed out beige-brown ruins. Sweet, because that look totally hasn't been done to death in every fucking serious game since Doom. We'll come back to that in just a bit, though. Meanwhile, check out our new and improved hero. Whoa, brah, totally rocking the sweet stubble. Society wants you to decide between a beard and a clean shave, but you're all like, yo, funk dat, brah. Word. Ay. And hey, dreadlocks. Well, that just seals the deal, right? Nothing says I rule like dreadlocks on a white guy. Yeah, you know what else they say? I have no regard for how much money my parents are pissing away on my tuition. And also, I have no working knowledge of who this guy was, but I own 12 shirts just like it. To be fair, apparently he's supposed to be a hardened criminal, released on the contingency of hero duty. Where on earth could they have gotten that concept? So maybe he's simply as yet unaware that Rage Against the Machine is both broken up and not terribly missed. And the fuck is up with the big floppy Image Comics robo-arm? How the hell did that get all the way through the design phase? Did someone let Rob Liefeld out of the pen again? Peter Chung wouldn't senselessly fuck around with proportion like that. Yes, the game itself will probably still be pretty decent. This is Capcom after all, but as lead heroes go, this is a character design wash and a real missed opportunity to do something fun and different in the originality-strapped modern game market. Let's face it, if you go grab a random copy of any big, massively popular hit recent video game, you've got a really solid chance of encountering the following. It's going to be a fucking first-person shooter, so your character will largely consist of a disembodied hand holding a gun, and the lead hero, if and when you do see him, is going to be a scruffy, unshaven white guy with a disaffected tood, or his cousin, presumably scruffy, unshaven white guy, now wearing space armor. For some reason, somewhere along the line, we went from video game heroism being a profession diverse enough to include plumbers, hedgehogs, robots, cavemen, ninjas, and whatever the hell Kirby is supposed to be, to a field monolithically staffed by guys who are all doing their best to pull off the look of self-employed landscaping contractors. For fuck's sake, Gordon Freeman is supposed to be a research physicist, and aside from the Velma Dinkley glasses, even he looks like he'd rather be fronting an STP tribute band at this point. The answer here is no secret. When Sony's PlayStation broadened the gamer audience outside the traditional parameters of devoted nerddom, it brought in new audiences that found gaming's traditional design schematics, culled as they were from the same lovely brew of comic books, Dungeons & Dragons, Star Trek, Doctor Who, anime, and what have you like the rest of Atari generation nerddom, to be not entirely conducive to their personal vision of what was visually and tonally appealing. Or, rather, to use their vernacular, Mushroom Kingdom? Yeah, that's gay. Was that triangles? Gay. Well, he's a robot? Oh, dude, that's so gay. Clearly, something had to be done to appease this obviously discerning new audience, and so bring on the deluge of pandering Scarface worship, John Madden, and of course the self-employed landscaping contractors mentioned above. Take a look at this. This is the cover to the NES title Bomberman. Not a bad look for a titular hero, and certainly not unappealing, but also fairly uninspiring. Then you play the actual game and find out Bomberman actually looks like this. Much more personality, much more fun-looking, and different enough to be instantly distinguishable from everyone else. Good design work overall, IMHO. Anyway, despite never achieving the recognizability of a Mario or even a gratuitous ass-shot girl, Cammy, Bomberman has managed to appear in something like 60 games, or 1/500th the number of games Mega Man's been in by now, so evidently I'm not the only one who thinks he's got an enduring presence. He works, he's doing fine, no need to mess with him, so when it came time to give him a shot on the 360, they decided it was best to throw everything out and go with a hardcore revamp. Obviously, I mean, what else? And so came Bomberman Act Zero. What the fucking hell is this? Everything, and I mean everything, wrong with character design in modern games, and modern games period, is encapsulated right here in this fucking shitstorm. Brown. The whole thing is brown. Told you we'd get back to that, remember? Making everything brown is a huge part of modern game design, because it's how you tell the hardcores the game is safe for them to buy. Remember, this is a surprisingly discerning group in its way. If they get any indication that more than one of the primary colors appears on screen at any moment, your game will be declared gay, and they'll pass it by on their way to EA's newest same fucking game you bought last year, but now with a new roster, which at this point should really be taken care of through downloadable content, you greedy John Madden filleting corporate fuck hacks. Also note, apparently robot chicks dig scars too, Tony Stark would like his brassiere back, and Jesus jumped up Christ, another big floppy arm? When did this become a mandatory accessory for all shitty redesigns? And wait a minute, is that a fucking chain? Game, seriously now, are we Todd McFarlane? Is it 1992? Yeah. It's times like this that make me grateful for game designers who actually take care of their properties. Say what you will about Nintendo and Shigeru Miyamoto's tendency toward re-release and repetition, at the very least we've never had to suffer through Link's emo phase. Look, I'm not saying abject realism and non-surreal design don't have a place. The unifying dark Art Deco consistency of BioShock is part of what made it work, and I appreciate how determinedly Assassin's Creed sticks to a semblance of history in its vision of the Crusades. I just like to see invention and variety once again be the rule instead of the exception. Is that too much to ask? Designers, give it some thought. Instead of blasting away the Nazis again, how about some mummies? Instead of yet another gravelly-voiced macho hardcase to save us from the alien herd, why not, say, a monkey? See, that would be a place to start from. Start asking yourselves at the beginning of every character creation brainstorming session, hey, could this be a monkey? Maybe you won't end up with a monkey specifically, but at least you'll start off in a more creative direction, and I can almost guarantee that whatever you settle on will be a more immediately compelling character than Master Chief.